rights from the 1800s to 1900s. Hopefully you've read these already. You've tried to do it yourself. You want to get practice reading it carefully and trying to do your best, but let's take a look at it. So you read this one here, and it shows this train station. It gives you all the IDs. It tells you it's Monet. It gives you the date. It gives you everything. Then it asks you a few questions. Read it carefully. You want to break it down what they're asking for. This would be a 15-minute write. So when you break it down, it's asking for changes that transform life in Paris in the 1870s. All right, this would be modern Paris, the modern city, the modern boulevard, the middle class's ability to have leisure time and to go out into Paris and to see Paris, things like that. Monet's attitude. By the way, all of these are on the College Board website. You can look up the actual prompt with the rubric, with comments, all kinds of information on that College Board website. Then it says, what's Monet's attitude towards Parisian life? He loves it. He thinks it's beautiful. He thinks it's wonderful. A lot of people got this wrong. They said it was like global warming or pollution. It's a celebration of Paris. And then the train station can take you to the suburbs and take you places. He makes it beautiful and he celebrates it. Visual evidence of his attitude. Take a look at the rubric there. I mean, this would be something that where you talked about how he's trying to make a pretty painting, almost a landscape kind of painting using color and atmosphere, and really a painting that would be popular and that would sell like a landscape. All right, so check the rubric, but that's the base idea on that one. Okay, this is a practice write. I know this one really, really well because they recommended that you guys know this well. Diego Rivera gives you just like this, the info, and then it asks you a couple questions in here. You read it carefully, you find out what they're asking for, and you break it down. And it's basically talking about the different eras of the mural, message conveyed, response. So a couple things here. So what's the era of the mural? This is the history of Mexico. So he would talk about the conquest and the colonization, the dictatorship of Diaz, and then the Mexican Revolution, and then those would be the three eras in there. What's the message conveyed by Rivera? This would be basically, it's about the forgotten man. Rivera was a socialist. He was very much for the working man and for the underdog. And so the message here would probably be about the exploitation of the poor and how Mexicans have been abused by the colonists, by the dictators, by the rich, something like that. Response from the original viewer looking at the mural. This is a tricky one here. Originally, this was in a hotel wall of the elites, who elites probably would not like this because he's criticizing the elites. But then it was moved to a public park, and Alameda was the first public park in Mexico City. So this might be something where the public would like this because Rivera is talking about the history of the people, of the common person, of the peasant, of the lower classes there. So they would like this mural, and that's what he's trying to do with the mural. He's trying to explain the history of Mexico and the exploitation, and perhaps even, arguing for a revolution. So visual evidence that would explain the reaction, you'd have to be a little more specific there and point out that would be Diaz, the dictator, would be in there, the colonists would be in there, the revolutionaries would be in there. So you would just find specifics to back that one up. All right. Take your time, do a really good job on this one. This one could be on the test. All right, then this is, this is an actual test question, and they have this one here, and they ask you a couple. This is the exact prompt here. So when you break it down, it's saying, what's an art movement? Impressionism. She was associated with the Impressionists. And then how does she incorporate Japanese print in style and subject matter? Japanese print style were flat, cropped, not naturalistic. This is flat, cropped, means cut off, not naturalistic. It's not linear perspective. It's got that more Japanese style. And then for the subject matter, it's a woman's point of view. So Cassatt gave a woman's point of view. Japanese woodblocks often gave a woman's point of view, or an intimate moment, a private moment. Here she is doing her hair. Here she is with her daughter. All right, then this one here is from a number of years ago, but this is about, they tell you the name, the title of everything, then they ask you a couple questions. How was Manet appropriated Titian's painting? People don't know what this means. He took it and reused it in a different way. So when you break this one down, a couple of points in there, what's he done? Manet has taken the female nude and appropriated it or used it in a very new way. This is about ideal beauty and uses a goddess. This is about a woman who in fact happens to be a prostitute. How is Manet challenging artistic traditions? Remember, Manet is a modern artist. Modern art is about ideas. It's not about beauty. This is about beauty and modeling. This is about the idea of what is art, what is beauty, what is real, what is true. It brings a lot of philosophical questions. So how is he challenging the artistic tradition? He's taking beauty and completely challenging it. He does not model the skin. He makes her like a cardboard cutout. He does not use linear perspective. He takes all the artistic traditions and he reverses them. How is this a social issue? This is a tough one here. I don't know. This might be something about the role of women in Parisian society, but that's a pretty good start on it. And again, the rubric's online for this one too. All the rubrics for the last 15 years are online. All right, now this is an attribution painting. This one, they will just show you a painting you've never seen before, and then you have to give an attribution by this. So for this one, if you looked at it, so who is it? Van Gogh. How would you justify it? Van Gogh captured the feeling of a place, not the naturalism of the place. He used thick impasto paint, thick line. This captures the feeling of a beautiful farm, and it doesn't look natural or realistic, but it captures the feeling of like Van Gogh. And then you'd fully identify it. Van Gogh, post-impressionism, 1890s, impasto oil paint. Another one here, who might this be? Same thing, and then you have to look at it and take a guess and then find a work that this is closest to, and you think about it and you say Cézanne. Then you identify it, Cézanne, 1890s, France, oil paint. Oh, and it even gave you a hint in here. The artist's ongoing experimentation with form through landscape. So it gave you a hint there because Cézanne did that. All right, and then visual evidence. Then you would just talk about Cézanne's Mount Saint-Victoire and how he experimented by painting over and over and over again the mountain. So he's experimenting perception or how we see the mountain. So he has, and then evidence, flat, not naturalistic, flat planes of color. There is a mountain, but it's not naturalistic or photographic. And he painted his mountain over and over again because he was really experimenting how we paint and how we experience landscape. All right, and that's a good start for those there. Okay, so write those out or bullet point those out so you understand those and be ready. Those are the kinds of questions they're going to ask you.